So, the new Whispers in the Walls update just skyrocketed melee weapons, which were already pretty good, through the roof. But why? Well, there are actually two reasons: arcanes and TENNOKAI. Arcanes are just a nice addition, we have them for other weapons, so it made sense they would eventually make their way over to melee as well, but TENNOKAI actually changes the way you play. To be fair though, the arcanes have a very nice variety of effects. They're not boring, which is good. We have melee animosity, which on a melee hit gives you extra crit chance for your next heavy attack, stacking all the way up to 420%. Melee retaliation, which gives you stacking melee damage based on your current shields, this one also stacks up to 420%. Melee exposure, which on an ability cast with your Warframe grants you up to 240% extra corrosive damage for your melee weapons for up to 25 seconds. Then there is melee influence, which when you proc electricity with your melee weapon, you have a 20% chance for elemental melee status effects to spread to enemies within 20 meters for up to 18 seconds. Then there is melee fortification, which gives you stacking flat armor on melee kills, and melee vortex, which when you kill an enemy that's affected by a magnetic status effect gives you a chance to pull all enemies from up to 18 meters towards it. Those are the basic arcanes and they're pretty good, but we also have two legendary ones. We have melee duplicate, which gives your base melee crit up to 100% chance to hit twice, base melee crits meaning yellow crits, it will not duplicate orange or red crits, and melee crescendo, which gives you up to 6 initial combo for every finisher kill you do on an enemy for the rest of the mission. These are absolutely ridiculous and appropriately rare as well. You can get these from the Fervo assassination mission as well as the mini boss that can spawn when you're playing missions on the tile set. You can also buy them from the chicken once you reach the appropriate rank, and you can get them from Netra cells, with the two legendary arcanes being exclusive to Netra cells, so you can't get them anywhere else. These are all really good, some are better than others of course, but I can see all of them being used in some scenario. I particularly like melee animosity because it plays into the new TENNOKAI system. But what is the TENNOKAI system, Mr. Internet Man? Well, I'm glad you asked. When Whispers in the Walls added the melee Exile slot, they decided to also add 6 new TENNOKAI mods that enable the TENNOKAI fighting style. All of these fit into the Exile slot and they're rewarded from Rotation C in Alchemy, the new game mode. The one exception to this is Mentor's Legacy, which is the most basic one that doesn't provide additional benefits on top of enabling TENNOKAI, which you get from finishing Whispers in the Walls. The TENNOKAI system, for how strong it is very straightforward. All light attacks have a chance to trigger TENNOKAI for a brief moment, and while it's active, you can do a heavy attack without consuming your combo counter. The reason this is so strong is because heavy attack damage is multiplied by the combo counter. So if you do a heavy attack at 12 times combo, you will get a 12x damage multiplier on your heavy attack. This is why some of the strongest melee setups already did this prior to this update. But instead of using the TENNOKAI system, we would use combo generation and heavy attack efficiency. And it wasn't anywhere near as good as this. I mean, you probably already know how strong heavy attacks were before this update, and those were for the most part done at 2 times combo through Corrupt Charge. And now not only do you not have to run Corrupt Charge anymore, so you have space for another mod, you are doing them at 12 times combo. However, to take advantage of TENNOKAI properly, you need to put more emphasis on attack speed instead of just wind-up speed. Previously, wind-up speed was boss because you were just spamming heavy attacks, but nowadays you actually need to hit enemies to trigger TENNOKAI. Well, you don't need to, but you want to, because the faster you attack, the faster you can trigger TENNOKAI. Now, the different TENNOKAI mods actually provide a nice bit of variety, so you can choose the one that suits you the best. We have Discipline's Merit, which changes the TENNOKAI system from a random proc to something that procs on every 4th melee hit. Then there is Dreamer's Wrath, which not only increases the proc chance of TENNOKAI by 50%, it also increases your heavy attack crit damage by 32%. Next on the menu is Master's Edge. This enables TENNOKAI and increases TENNOKAI damage by 60%. Then there is Conditions Perfection, which gives you plus 100% status chance on TENNOKAI attacks. And finally there is Opportunity's Reach, which gives your TENNOKAI attacks 3 meters of extra range, but also increases the proc duration by 4 seconds. This one is really good if you're just getting into it, because it makes it much easier not to whiff the proc, but it's also really good if you already have more than enough damage, so your best course of action is to just hit more things every time. This is a really good selection of mods because it allows you to build your TENNOKAI setup to either be more chill through Opportunity's Reach, focus on various different status procs with conditions perfection, do a bunch of extra damage through Master's Edge, be more aggressive and crit heavy with Dreamer's Wrath, or be more predictable through Discipline's Merit. It's always good when the game gives you options because not everyone plays the game the same way, which is why you would ideally want to try all of these to figure out which one suits your playstyle the best. But probably the best thing about the TENNOKAI system is that because the TENNOKAI also gives you some heavy attack wind-up speed, you don't necessarily have to use it on heavy attack builds alone. You can put one of the TENNOKAI mods on a light attack build and just heavy attack whenever it triggers. This is particularly strong on weapons that have a special mechanic or a forced proc on their heavy attack. I really like this aspect of it because you're essentially doing the same thing but very differently. You're either loading all your damage into light attacks and then the heavy attacks are just a nice bonus on top, or you're using your light attacks as more of a trigger and then you're feeding your damage into heavy. Or, and this is what I ended up doing with my pennant, you can do a little bit of both. My pennant is mostly built for heavy attacks, but the light attacks still do a good amount of damage because I have essentially Blood Rush because I ran 4 Gladiator mods, 2 on my weapon, 2 on my frame, and I'm stacking a lot of attack speed. I have Gladiator Vice, Warcry, and Arcane Strike. And while the light attacks aren't as strong as on a proper light attack build, they still do a good amount of damage. Another thing I really want to emphasize here is the usage of stacking mods. You can use these on heavy attack builds as well, so stuff like Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, and even the Gladiator set. These provide a lot of stats at 12 times combo, but before this update they were very unreliable for heavy attack builds. And while I wouldn't necessarily recommend Blood Rush for heavy attack builds because you're better off utilizing the Gladiator set, Weeping Wounds can be absolutely fantastic on some status focused heavy builds, like Gas builds for example. So yeah, this is hands down my favorite feature of this update, not just because it gives melee weapons even more damage, but because it's just really well thought out and it's great fun to play around with. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and if there is anything else you would like to add to this, feel free to leave a comment down below. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys, I really appreciate your support, and if you would like to become a channel member as well, by the way, you can check out the memberships and stuff down below. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, and if you oh, I've been doing this for 5 hours. My brain is mush. I can't speak anymore.